So, I made this mainly for the ex-Jehovah's Witness community, but this is something that is honestly very important for everyone, all religions, and really the community in general. So, I'm going to talk about it. This is going to be about Bill 5375. Hold on one second. And I'm going to be going over some articles. And anyone who wants to chime in, you're more than welcome to chime in. And hopefully you'll catch me on the rerun. Because like I said, this is very important. So hold on one second. Okay. All right. So this show tonight is regarding State Bill 5375. All right. So if you don't know anything about this, if you are an ex-Jehovah's Witness, if you're a Catholic, this is going to be very important. And like I said, I mean, really for the community at large. So, State Bill 5375, all right, now this is a quick Google search, and I've got some articles that I want to share with you. And I actually want to thank my partner Bianca here. She actually alerted this to my attention last night. And, you know, coming from the Jehovah's Witness community, I was especially triggered by it. It's downright disturbing. So, the bill itself is actually good. The problem is that the Department of Justice and our government is, you know, picking a bone with it. And I want to quote, I want to make sure that I paraphrase everything correctly. Basically, they are against it in a lot of ways and really making trouble for this bill. So anyways, let me go ahead and read to you the bill. This is a quick Google search, State Bill 5375 argument. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about why people think it's good and why people think it's bad and what it says about the people, in my opinion, who think that this is a bad thing. All right, so here it is. State Bill 5375 in Washington State would make clergy members mandatory reporters of child abuse and neglect, even if they learn of the abuse during confession. This has sparked significant debate. I can't imagine why. Anyways, back to the article. Significant debate with supporters emphasizing the need to protect children and opponents raising concerns about religious freedom and the sanctity of confession. The US Department of Justice, DOJ, has filed a lawsuit, okay? US Department of Justice. And I'm actually going to read from their official website. So this is not hyperbole. This is not woo, hocus pocus, you know, paranoia. I'm going to read this straight from the site itself. All right. So the U.S. Department of Justice has filed a lawsuit against Washington State. There is a Democratic leader there who made this bill. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to keep reading. Has filed a lawsuit against Washington, arguing the law violates the First Amendment's free exercise clause and the 14th Amendment's equal protection clause. So, arguments in favor of State Bill 5375. So here are the arguments in favor, all right? Supporters argue that all children deserve protection and that no one should be exempt from reporting suspected child abuse, including clergy. I can't believe I'm actually having to read that. As if that's up for debate, as if there should be any. All right, I'm going to keep reading. I'm not laughing because this is funny. I'm not laughing because this is funny at all. I'm blown away, I think, at the absurdity. Because it's so damn absurd. It's almost satirical. I'm going to keep reading, all right? Closing the loophole. They highlight a long-standing loophole that has allowed clergy to withhold information about child abuse, potentially hindering investigations and endangering children. All right, so I'm going to get back to that, but let me just say that even in the Jehovah's Witness organization, that is a major problem because the bodies of elders don't believe that they have to report it. Okay, somebody making some really, really racist negative comments.
Oh.
All right, I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if you're talking about us, if you're talking about the bill. That is very offensive. I'm not going to repeat it, but I'm not sure what you're referring to. Anyways, I got a lot to cover, and I'll get back to that, maybe. Anyways, in the Jehovah's Witness organization, this has been a problem where bodies of elders, including even all the way up to the governing body, have sheltered and protected elders that have sexually molested young children, okay? Violated lots of people, and when the victims speak out about it, they get disfellowshipped, and so they get disfellowshipped. I'm sorry, somebody is posting some very racially charged bullshit.
Well, the more engagement, the more views. So, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Let me get... Yeah. I don't know what point you're trying to prove, whoever you guys are. Probably hiding behind fake accounts. To me, it's very cowardly. And I don't think that there's any reason for that. Maybe if you want to try to have a logical discussion, we can do that. Doesn't look like you can right now. I'll give you a minute to think about that. But anyways, getting back to it, this has been a huge problem in the Jehovah's Witness faith that I came from, where there will be people that speak out and they're disfellowshipped. The elders aren't disfellowshipped. They get moved around in different congregations. So this is also happening in the Catholic Church, and they apparently feel victimized by it, even though, and I'm going to get to that also, even though they have an incredible record of child sexual abuse. And so this is infuriating that they want to, sorry, this guy that's texting is very distracting.
It's a couple of users.
Yeah.
A couple of bots.
Probably bots, yeah.
They're bots for sure. Because it's like,
Yeah, I don't even think these people are real.
oh wow, yeah. So they probably saw your post like of the fact that you're talking about the Catholic Church.
So anyways, I'm being attacked right now by some people who are trolls who claim they're not bots. They don't have anything intelligent to say, just a lot of disrespect. And I don't appreciate it. And I'll probably ban them later when I have the time. And honestly, I don't think that I'm going to give them any more of my energy because they're not worth it. And they don't have anything useful to say anyway. So anyways, back to the article. I'm going to just continue reading. So, arguments for the bill, this Washington bill, following the law. They emphasize that the bill aligns with existing mandatory reporting laws for other professions and that clergy should be held to the same standards when it comes to protecting children. Okay? Seems pretty reasonable to me. All right? Arguments against State Bill 5375. Violation of religious freedom. Opponents, including religious leaders and the Department of Justice, argue that the law infringes upon the free exercise of religion by forcing clergy to violate the sanctity of the confessional. They have to report child sexual abusers. God, that is just horrible. The audacity. I am appalled that anybody in our government, as a very proud American, as somebody who even leans conservative to a degree, that we are even talking about this. And it seems like the conservatives right now are the ones that are fighting it. I would like to talk to my fellow conservatives here for a second and say that if you are mad that somebody who's a Democrat is leading this cause for human rights, for children's rights, what does that say about you, about us, about the state of our nation here? If they are leading by example in this case, then why shouldn't we follow their lead? This is something to think about. I want to keep reading about this, and I'm going to keep reading about the article's arguments against this bill. Compromising the sacrament of confession. They argue that the law would deter individuals from seeking spiritual guidance and confession, potentially harming their spiritual well-being. Well, you know what? So what? How harmful can reporting on people who are pedophiles, how harmful can that be, really? How many people have we seen that have committed suicide and have gone on to lead very self-destructive and society-wise destructive lives because they have had to deal with repressed hatred and emotions because this stuff was not reported on, and these people who did this to them continue to get on with their life and just get away with this and continue to harm other people, even children. I mean, it's just horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah, it's like their individual message. You also like hide them or something.
I'm just going to keep hiding them.
I mean, all I have to say is that, this is engagement. This is just increased engagement. So, if this causes you to get more views, I mean, hell yeah.
Honestly, yeah, it's definitely not hurting. They're hurting their reputation, and they're not coming up with any kind of useful arguments. Comical.
Yeah.
Nice try.
But it's interesting that,
Diddy.
out of the videos that we have, done together, that this is the one that's talking about the church,
Yeah.
is the one that's getting, flamed by Redditors or whoever. Probably Redditors, 4chaners, whatever.
Right. If they're gonna put this much hate on this video, then I mean, you're right. What does it say about them? Not the kind of people you need in society. Yeah, they're hidden. So they can comment away. Probably a bunch of nerds with 10 accounts because they constantly get kicked off shit because they don't really have anything useful to offer anyone anyway. Good job, guys. Way to go. I bet mom's real proud of you. I had to.
They probably jerk off to their moms.
Probably. Oh, that's funny.
They probably have AI girlfriends that they make look like their moms.
Ow, mom, harder. Ah. All right, so anyways, to all that are still watching, we had some trolls on here, if you're not sure what just happened, that were trolling and saying a bunch of racially charged things for no reason. There weren't any arguments, they were just spewing words and basically just trying to start shit. So, anyways, I just dealt with that. Hey, how's it going? Malice Alice. Yeah, you saw that? Really, really messed up, man. People are sick. People are real sick.
I assure you I've seen worse.
Ugh.
But anyway, this isn't about that.
So I'm going to read a little bit from the actual horse's mouth here. All right, so I've got two articles, and you can go to justice.gov and you can see them. The date of the first one that I'm going to read is Monday, June 23rd, 2025. All right. Justice Department sues Washington State over its new anti-Catholic law. Let me just stop right there for a second. Anti-Catholic, because it's human rights, and it talks about needing to report on things that were given in confession to the authorities regarding child sexual abuse, that it's anti-Catholic? I mean, we're kind of missing the big picture here, aren't we? It's kind of like talking about a guy who murdered a bunch of people and then saying, oh, well, they're anti, let's say he wore Nike shoes, real anti-Nike thing, man. You know, I mean, it's like, forget the fact that he did a bunch of heinous things. Forget the fact that the Catholic Church, among other churches, because it's not just about the Catholic Church, have done a lot of heinous acts in not reporting child sexual abuse and all kinds of horrible things that should have been reported to the authorities, the same shit that we had to deal with in the Jehovah's Witness religion. They want to say is anti-Catholic. I mean, that just shows you how untruthful. Really, I mean, just insincere. I mean, if we cared about the right thing here, this article cared about the right thing, whoever wrote this, wouldn't they be talking about, well, protecting children's rights? It's like the Biff moment, you know. Hello, anybody home? Hello. So I'm going to read this, just so I am not hyperbolizing. So, like I said, this is from June 23rd, 2025 on justice.gov, and the title of the article is Justice Department Sues Washington State Over Its New Anti-Catholic Law, Senate Bill 5375. The Justice Department announced today that it filed legal action for complaint and intervention against the state of Washington over its new state law, Senate Bill 5375, which violates the free exercise of religion for all Catholics and requires Catholic priests to violate the confidentiality seal of confession. Does that really matter if it comes to putting away a predator? I mean, don't you think you got your priorities a little fucked up here? I think so. I'm going to keep reading. Paragraph 2. Senate Bill 5375 requires Catholic priests who violate their vows to uphold the confidentiality seal that accompanies the sacred rite of confession, subjecting them to immediate excommunication from the Catholic Church. Let me explain this as somebody who's disfellowshipped from the Jehovah's Witnesses. Excommunicated, if you will. If you, in the Catholic faith, especially if you are a priest or diocese, whatever they call them, hearing a confession regarding the molestation and violation of people's rights, pedophilia, the violation of children, and all kinds of other sick things that we cringe at even talking about. For doing the right thing, for doing the right thing, and reporting that to the authorities, you will be excommunicated in the Catholic Church. Does that sound like people who care about children? I'm going to keep reading. As the Justice Department's lawsuit explains, the violations imposed by this new law on all practicing members of the Catholic Church, including Catholic priests administering the sacrament and Catholic penitents participating in the rite, include deprivations of the free exercise of religion under the First Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. There's a quotation mark here. I'm going to read that too. The article's almost done. Laws that explicitly target religious practices, such as the sacrament of confession in the Catholic Church, have no place in our society, said Assistant Attorney General Harmeet K. Dillon of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division. I'm gonna get to you in a minute. I'd like to personally address what you said, sir. Your Honor, or whatever they call you, and I do say that in all respect. But I thoroughly disagree with you, and I'd like to get to that here in a minute, but let me finish this. Senate Bill 5375 unconstitutionally forces Catholic priests in Washington to choose between their obligations to the Catholic Church and their penitence or face criminal consequences, while treating the priest penitent privilege differently than other well-settled privileges. The Justice Department will not sit idly by when states mount attacks on free exercise of religion. The department's motion to intervene in Etienne v. Ferguson, I'm not sure who that is or what that's about, is pending before the US District Court for the Western District of Washington. All right, that's pretty much it. The last thing says more information about this can be found at Justice, whatever, it's a link. So, Attorney General Harmeet K. Dillon of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division says that laws that explicitly target religious practices such as the sacrament of confession in the Catholic Church have no place in our society. I don't even know where to begin to explain how fucked up that is, Mr. Attorney General. If confessing confessions saves the lives of children and people being violated, shouldn't that be looked at as, well, you know, progress? You know, like maybe that's a good thing that, you know, pastors, elders, priests, dioceses, all these, you know, mainly Christian religions have to confess to authorities that they have heard some foul, fucked up shit going on here. Isn't that a good thing? I mean, if you're defending their privacy to keep private confessions of God knows what, pedophilia, someone being raped, maybe even worse, what does that tell society about you? Why would you defend that? I would love to see another article here where you're explaining, and hopefully you have a damn good reason why you're defending that. Because I'm not getting it. I can't imagine anybody who's honest, who cares about children and people's rights, that would defend this. You know, I mean, I'm trying my best to be civil about it. I want to scream. This is infuriating that we're even talking about this. The fact that we even have to talk about this is just incredible to me. Anyways, I'm going to read another article from the Department of Justice. It's just sick.
This is from May of this year.
Yeah.
This is like before it all.
Yeah. All right, so this article, also from the Department of Justice, just so I'm getting my facts straight, I'm not hyperbolizing, I'm not making up bullshit, this is straight from the horse's mouth. This article is from May 5th, 2025, and it's titled, "The Justice Department Announces First Amendment Investigation into Washington State's New, again, Anti-Catholic Law." I want to get into, before I even read that, I want to get into why I don't think that that is so anti-Catholic. First of all, Christian religions, and really religions in general, are known for violating sexually, among other ways, members of their congregations, children. I mean, you name it, anybody they can. And unfortunately, I'm not trying to place blame except for just simply quote the facts. Unfortunately, the Catholic Church has been probably one of the worst examples of child sexual abuse. And the church itself harboring ministers guilty of these crimes. Okay, it's not just sin, it's a crime. It's criminal. That means that it needs to be reported to the authorities. I mean, it seems pretty damn simple to me. So anyways, let me read this. So I Googled number of Catholic abuse cases because we've heard a lot about it. Let's just be honest here. We as a society over the past few decades have heard a lot, okay, a lot, about the Catholic Church violating children, okay? So I'm going to read this, and you tell me how anti-Catholic versus human rights it really is. You be the judge. In the United States, investigations have revealed a significant number of child sexual abuse cases within the Catholic Church spanning decades. More than 6,000 Catholic clergy members have been credibly accused of sexual abuse. All right, credibly accused, 6,000. Not six, 6,000. Okay, that's just the beginning, that's the tip of the iceberg. Studies like the John Ray report found that between 1950 and 2002, approximately 4,392 priests, about 4% of the priests serving during that period, were accused of child sexual abuse. During this same period, there were an estimated 11,000 allegations of abuse. You heard that right, 11,000. Okay? Are we still picking on them? Anyway, the 2021 US CCB report indicates 4,228 child sexual abuse allegations were reported between July 1st, 2019 and June 30th, 2020. All right, notice something here that is still coming into our era here. You know what that means? Let me tell you what it means. It's still a problem. That's right. It's still a problem. The issue of sexual abuse is not limited to the United States and has been reported in many countries across the globe. In France, for example, a report found that roughly 333,000 minors were victims of sexual abuse within the French Catholic Church since 1950, with about 216,000 cases involving clergy members. In Germany, a study identified 1,670 clergy members accused of sexual abuse linked to 3,677 victims. All right, it is important to note that these numbers are likely underestimations, and I can vouch for that being a Jehovah's Witness. Underestimations. There are a lot of people that I know that have been violated that have not reported it because they think it's too late, they think they shouldn't, they're afraid to, whatever the case be. I know people right now that are affiliated with the Jehovah's Witness faith who have all kinds of horror stories regarding their body of fucking elders that have not reported these things yet. They haven't become courageous and brave enough to take a stand. And I hope that they do. I'm not judging you. I haven't really been a victim of these things myself. So I don't know how you feel. I don't know what you're going through. But I am sure that it is a hell of a lot. And I hope that you get the consolation that you deserve. And I want to say that if you are dealing with depression because of the things that other sick people have done to you, that is not your fault. And you need to not give up. And you need to go and you need to find people who will be there for you, who will help you, so that you don't have to fight that battle alone and in the dark. Your days of being in the dark are over. And the more that we can expose this kind of corruption, the more out of darkness we will all be. So to hell with clergy confidentiality if it stops people from being violated. If you oppose that, it says a hell of a lot more about you than it does about them. Those are big numbers, people. In France, 333,000 accusations. 216,000 involving clergy members. That's a lot. I moved from a town that had about 250,000. That's a lot. You get what I'm saying? Am I making my point clear? I think that we need to support State Bill 5375. And furthermore, I think that we need to get every goddamn state and pretty much the planet to enact a bill like that. Don't our children deserve it? Doesn't our society deserve it? they really deserve special privilege, even privilege to not report on child sexual abuse or other heinous crimes? Are they above the law? And even if not the law, are they above decency? You see, this affects a lot more than just the Catholic Church, and I am angry that they have minimized it down to just the Catholic Church. This is about a lot of people's lives being seriously affected negatively. And I am angry that they minimize it down to picking on the Catholic Church. You know, with all those child sexual abuse cases, maybe they kind of need to be targeted. You know, I mean, common sense kind of tells me maybe there's a problem, you know, right about there. I'm going to keep reading this article before I lose my goddamn mind. So back to the article. The Justice Department announces First Amendment investigation into Washington State's new anti-Catholic law, Senate Bill 5375. The Justice Department today announced it has opened a civil rights investigation into the development and passage of Washington State Senate Bill 5375, signed into law on May 2nd, 2025, by Governor Bob Ferguson. Okay, hey, Bob, thank you. Thank you. I don't even believe in God that much anymore, but let me just say from the bottom of my heart, God bless you. God bless you, Bob. We may not always agree on everything. I realize that you're a Democrat, but you know, this is kind of bigger than Democrat, Republican, red, blue. And I got to give it to you, man. You are right on. Thank you for being brave enough to care about human rights and children. Thank you. Thank you for that, Bob. Governor Bob Ferguson, Washington State. You, sir, May 2nd, have made history. Thank you. As an ex-Jehovah's Witness who has seen a lot of corruption in this same thing. Thank you. Washington State's new law adds members of the clergy to a list of other professionals who are required to report information received in a confessional setting related to child abuse or neglect to law enforcement or other state authorities, with no exception for the absolute seal of confidentiality that applies to Catholic priests. Who gives a fuck? Fuck your goddamn confidentiality if it saves a child. And shame on you. Shame on you for caring more about your privilege and confidentiality than fucking justice. I'm really trying to be civil here. How can you be civil when it comes to protecting children? How can you be civil? How the hell can you not want to, by any means necessary, want to protect our society from predators unless you're a sick fuck? This video is probably going to get banned or taken down, guys. I apologize in advance. If it stays up, I'd be fucking amazed. Yeah, I'd be amazed. I mean, you guys realize this is like some Epstein shit. We're gonna fuck children and not tell anyone about it, and we're immune to having to confess that to the fucking authorities. Are you serious right now? I mean, I'm serious. Like, I dare somebody to fucking get on my damn page and comment about this. Arguing against this bill. I want you to. Please tell me why you are for ending this bill and preserving the confidentiality of potential confessions that could be evidence. I'm going to try to get through the rest of this article. I'm going to do my best, guys. I am trying so hard. But you know what? I kind of feel like we as a society, we should all be angry about this. If you're not angry, something's wrong. If you don't care, something's wrong. And in my opinion, if you're for ending this bill, then something's wrong. You know how many elders in the Jehovah's Witness congregation have been protected in the elders' rooms and judicial hearings and meetings? Because they don't have to report it to the authorities? They can just shelve that shit for 30 years until finally the victim blows their fucking brains out? Because they just been fucked up so much mentally because they couldn't go to the authorities about it because they didn't have to confess it? Jesus, man. Literally, Jesus Christ. Jesus has left the chat, guys. For all you Christians out there, surely you don't support this. Surely you are also against this. Please tell me that you are. I'm going to keep trying to read it. I'm doing the best I can. I'll probably end it maybe here in the next few minutes. Had to jump on here and really chat about this, though, because this needs to be exposed. We need to support Bill 5375 of Washington State that forces ministers and other professionals to report on sexual abuse that they have heard even during confession. This is great. This is called progress. This is what we need to protect our children. And why on earth would we oppose this bill? I'm going to keep reading. Washington State's new law adds members of clergy, okay, I read that part. Furthermore, the state of Washington's new law singles out members of the clergy as the only supervisors who may not rely on applicable legal privileges, including religious confessions, as a defense to mandatory reporting. The Civil Rights Division will investigate the apparent conflict between Washington State's new law with the free exercise of religion under the First Amendment, a cornerstone of the United States Constitution. You know how much shit has been started over religion? You know how much bullshit has happened because things have been confessed to elders, diocese, minister, whatever you want to call them. Everybody, a lot of Christian religions, organized Christian religions. You know how much fucked up things have happened that have gone unreported because they have not been properly reported to the authorities? I mean, isn't it called obstruction of justice to know about a crime, not a sin, a crime, and to not report on it? Doesn't it seem a little backwards? Don't you wonder about people who would defend this bullshit and say, oh, we need to stop this bill from being passed from state to state, and we need to end it in Washington and also sue their asses? Because they want ministers to be accountable and confess to the authorities things that are heinous. I mean, seriously, why in the fuck are we even having this discussion? Why does this discussion even need to be had? Should this not be pretty much standard and common sense? with regards to human decency, child decency. State Bill 5375 demands that Catholic priests violate their deeply held faith in order to obey the law. Oh, that's so awful. I can't believe that would happen. It's just an awful, awful, awful thing. Oh my God, it's awful. Oh, we gotta report child sexual abuse to the authorities. Oh no! That's just terrible! Give me a fucking break, man. Had to have a Sam Kinison moment on that. Give me a fucking break, man. Oh, their privilege, it hurts their privilege. I mean, fuck the children, right? Fuck,
literally.
yeah, literally, right, exactly, literally. Fuck the children. Yeah. Oh, this is going to be so deleted. I wouldn't be surprised if they deleted this video. And for what? Because I'm for children's safety? I mean, yeah, if you delete this video because I'm for children's safety, then oh my God. All right. State Bill 5375 demands the Catholic priests violate their deeply held faith in order to obey the law. A violation of the Constitution and breach of free exercise of religion cannot stand under our constitutional system of government, said Assistant Attorney General Harmeet K. Dillon of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division. He also went on to say, worse, the law appears to single out clergy as not entitled to assert applicable privileges as compared to other reporting professionals. We take this matter very seriously and look forward to Washington State's cooperation with our investigation. But do you take it seriously? Children's rights and shit, that whole thing. Do you really take that seriously? I mean, should you really be on this side of the discussion, Mr. Attorney General? That's a rhetorical question, by the way. All right, let me see what else I got. By the way, if the comments are having problems right now, it's because I had to report a bunch of trolls that were posting nonstop a bunch of nasty racial slurs. They weren't even arguing. They weren't even presenting any kind of a logical argument or anything like that. They were just literally shouting a bunch of racial slurs. So if you want to talk about this, please comment. And please like, share, subscribe, and share the hell out of this video. Talk about this video. Talk about Bill 5375. So let me see if I have talked about everything I needed to talk about. And by all means, shout this motherfucker from the rooftops. We cannot allow Bill 5375 to disappear. If anything, it needs to, we need to commend the people who are for this bill, who made this bill. And we need to help them out. We need to support them for the sake of the safety of our society. So back to arguments against it, because I never did finish that. Violation of religious freedom. Opponents, including religious leaders and the Department of Justice, argue that the law infringes upon the free exercise of religion by forcing clergy to violate the sanctity of the confessional by reporting on child sexual abuse, compromising the sacrament of confession. They argue that the law would deter individuals from seeking spiritual guidance and confession, potentially harming their spiritual well-being. Unconstitutional burden. The Department of Justice argues that the law singles out clergy, creating an unequal burden compared to other reporting professionals and violating the Constitution according to the Department of Justice. Unequal burden. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to be burdened with hearing that somebody is violating children. I certainly don't want to be burdened by it. But I'll tell you what, if I do, I'm reporting their ass to the authorities immediately. You know, maybe it might help children. I mean, I don't know. Call me, I'm no lawyer, but unnecessary and ineffective. Some argue that the law is unnecessary as clergy are already reporting instances of abuse where they are legally required to do so. You shouldn't have to be required to do the right thing. And there's nothing unnecessary about making it mandatory to report child sexual abuse crimes. There's nothing unnecessary about that. Give me a fucking break, man. In essence, the debate centers around whether the state's interest in protecting children outweighs the potential infringement on religious freedom and the sanctity of confession. I'm going to read that one more time because that's so fucked up. I can't even hyperbolize on that if I wanted to. Reading it is just satirical and absurd enough. Let me just read it. Let me read this one more time for you guys. In essence, the debate centers around whether the state's interest in protecting children outweighs the potential infringement on religious freedom and the sanctity of confession. Oh, by all means, let's keep that religious freedom and sanctity and confession. Oh my God, that's so much more important than children and sexual abuse. Hello? Hello? That's all I gotta say. I think I've pretty much covered everything that I possibly can. I can't explain this in simple enough terms. I mean, it really just seems like common sense. I mean, really, there's no more words. I know that tonight's episode was not a positive one. I don't care. It's important, and we need to get out of our goddamn comfort zones. And we need to do what's right, regardless of whatever religion you associate yourself with. I think that any religion that is against a bill that would require its leadership to confess crimes against humanity, crimes against children, crimes against women or men or any victims, should be examined very thoroughly. And that we need to support bills like 5375. I don't have anything else to say. I don't. This is heavy. And sometimes our comfort doesn't matter if it means getting angry at something, getting involved, and doing what we just all know to be right. Absolutely, yeah. Bianca wants to say something. I'm going to give her the floor, and then we will wrap it up. Go ahead, babe.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, or if you give the remotest shit, we're in Florida. The last I heard, Florida, like all adults are technically mandated reporters. Oh wait, yeah. So as far as I know, presently.
Go ahead.
Thank you. As far as I know, presently, like all Floridian adults are technically mandated reporters, regardless of their status as clergy, what have you. I'm like legally considered clergy with the Universal Life Church. Like everyone can kind of get ordained, what have you. But I do take my role as a spiritual practitioner seriously because by trade I do give spiritual advice. I do readings and stuff like that. For a brief time, I worked at a spiritual shop and it doesn't matter where, but I worked at a spiritual shop. There was a young man who would go there regularly before I ever worked there. I was there very briefly for a few months. But he was in his late teens, and yeah, he was maybe 15, 16, but developmentally a few years behind. And he felt close enough with me to confess to me that he had been dealing with sexual abuse at home. And I asked him that evening, I asked him, do you feel safe going home this evening? And he said no. Thank God, whoever, I know you feel weird about God, but thank someone thank the owner of the shop, and just the proximity of it. Right across the street, there was a guardian ad litem facility. Now, I didn't know what the hell a guardian ad litem was, so I'd asked the owner, who happened to not be there that day the child confessed. And she told me that the guardian ad litem people, they advocate for children in court, whether they're the voice for the children in court, that they can't represent themselves or don't feel safe to. So I literally, I let the other staff member there know. I was hey, I'm gonna step out, I'm gonna help this kid. Went across the street. The dude was wigged out when I told him. He was oh yeah, you should call the hotline first. I'm I don't know the order of operations. All I know is that y'all help kids, and I'm trying to make this happen. Thankfully, we were able to get him out of that family member's house and, move to a, last I heard, because I don't work in that area anymore, but last I heard, he was safe and out of that household. There are ways that you can do your part to advocate for children, even if you can't trust the clergy or the government to. There are ways that you can volunteer, that you can do your part to get kids out of dangerous situations. Give a shit. And Google. Well, maybe not Google. Google's kind of buggered with AI and stuff. But to put it simply, Google and give a shit. We can help kids in our own way, even if the government doesn't want to.
Thank you for that. That's a great example right there of somebody who is a minister reporting on something that really was to the benefit of somebody who really, really needed it. This is a very real thing. I got a comment. I can't see that comment. I think it has a lot to do with the trolls that were on here earlier. I apologize. Yeah, I'm not able to. Hold on. Let me try to refresh it. Let's see if I can see that comment. Okay. Yeah, Malice Alice says, the troll is a trash bag. I am well. How are you? Yeah, I saw that shit. Yeah. Yeah. It really is bad. So Teresa Church says, it's one that needed to be addressed. As a former JW, as a former Jehovah's Witness, I had 4 judicial committees called on me as the victim, as well as 3 other victims. Of course, nothing happened to the perpetrator, and we were told it was a congregation matter and don't go to the cops. This has to change. Thank you for saying that, Teresa. And you are absolutely right. Teresa is not exaggerating. This is something that you hear about every day in the ex-Jehovah's Witness community, where the people who did it were not disfellowshipped. But the victims who speak out about it are usually disfellowshipped. But even worse than that, because fuck that dumbass religion. Even worse than that, the Judicial Committee, which is a body of 3 elders or more, that's 3 congregation leaders, will tell you not to go to the authorities because you don't want to, quote unquote, bring reproach upon Jehovah's name. Again, no words. I better not ever catch someone saying some stupid ass shit like that. Thank you for that, Teresa. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Like I said, I really know that this is out of a lot of people's comfort zones, but you know what? This is necessary. Okay? I hope that something gets done. I hope that we find ways to do something about this. All right? This is about Bill 5373. Let's support that bill, guys. Let's hold religious leaders accountable in America for once and stop some of this damn corruption that keeps happening and is happening. Is, not was. Thanks for watching, guys.